Now to that breaking news. We continue to track results still coming in after yesterday's primary elections.
One of the biggest outstanding races right now, the race for the Democratic nomination for our state's open U.S. Senate seat. 13 on your side, political reporter Josh Albertus has been tracking this critical race throughout the election night. He's been here all night and into this morning. He's joining us live with what we know at this hour. Hi, Josh.
Good morning, guys. Well, what we know at this hour has been an incredibly tight race from start to finish. A consistent lead for former Wayne County health official Dr. Abdul El-Sayed, seen as the more progressive persona in this race, over Congresswoman Haley Stevens, often seen more so as the moderate persona. At this hour, we're about 94% of the expected votes counted right now statewide, with a difference of less than 2% between those two candidates. Like we predicted, there were some major counties here at play tonight. What comes to mind in particular are places like Washtenaw County, home of the University of Michigan at Ann Arbor, a younger voter base there, college-educated voters, where El-Sayed was expected to do well if he wanted a statewide showing. That came to pass. And then we also have something like nearby Oakland County as well. That dominated the night, really, with early reported results. And that was expected to be a base for the Stevens campaign. That is where her congressional district is based. If she wanted to show well statewide, it would be there, and she was leading by about 6%, 6.5% in Oakland County. So what have we been waiting on in that last 6% as we wait for the Associated Press to make a projection here? What we've been waiting on all night into the morning are the biggest remaining pot of votes coming out of Wayne County, home to Detroit, and the largest share of expected Democratic votes tonight. We are still at about 82% reporting out of Wayne County, where El-Sayed has been able to make up some ground compared to some of those early vote dumps out of the county, and it's going to come down to whether those remaining votes can make the difference in a race that is only separated by about 20,000 votes, with over 1.5 million votes cast. Guys.
Josh, thanks for that. Also last night, Michiganders learning who will be vying for that all-important seat in the governor's office.
Well, as you know, Governor Gretchen Whitmer is in her last few months of her second and final term in office. 13 on your side, Deja Bear joining us live from downtown GR right now with a look at those results for the Republican and Democratic gubernatorial primary races. Deja, good morning to you. So which candidates are going to face off in November?
Well, Tanner, Emily, both of the primary races for governor ended up being won by wide margins. So on the Democratic side, Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson is projected to have easily earned her party's nomination for governor. Genesee County Sheriff Chris Swanson losing by over 50 points, and that's according to those unofficial results. And on the Republican side, U.S. Representative John James is projected to have defeated businessman Perry Johnson to become the GOP nominee in the race for governor. Now, 13 on your sides, Peter Elliott was at John James's watch party last night and has a look at all of the excitement when the race was called.
They had a party here on Tuesday night in Sterling Heights. It was a good one. John James winning on his home turf here in the 10th Congressional District. The two-term congressman defeating businessman Perry Johnson with a pretty solid margin, hoping to now move on to Lansing as he faces Jocelyn Benson on the Democratic side, already going on the offensive during his victory speech.
Please welcome to the stage our Republican nominee and the next governor of Michigan, my husband, John James.
The polls predicted it.
The primary is over. Now we're all together. One team, one fight, one mission.
Congressman John James cruising to a double-digit victory in Michigan's Republican primary for governor.
The son of a slave became a sharecropper. The son of a sharecropper became a mason. The son of a mason became a truck driver. And that son of a truck driver stands before you here tonight.
In his victory speech, James didn't mention his opponent, Perry Johnson, after a campaign filled with personal attacks, instead turning his attention to the general election.
This November, the choice will be clear. We offer freedom, they offer socialism. We offer change, they offer continued decline. We offer common sense, they offer crazy.
Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson is the Democratic nominee, seeking a promotion of sorts in Lansing. James argues it's time for change.
Jocelyn Benson promises a new direction, but she's been a part of the leadership that got us lost in the first place. Now she's teaming up with Abdul El-Sayed, the Midwest Mountain.
Voters will head back to the polls 3 months from now, Tuesday, November 3rd. That is when this showdown will take place between Jocelyn Benson and John James. Republicans looking to take back the governor's mansion in Lansing. This is a seat that traditionally changes hands. We'll see if that happens this time around. Reporting in Sterling Heights, I'm Peter Elliott, 13 on your side.
Now, stick with 13 on your side this morning. Coming up here in our next half hour, we will hear from Perry Johnson from his watch party last night. Live in Grand Rapids, Deja Barrett, 13 on your side.
All right, Deja, thank you. Political experts say they're not surprised by many of the results that we saw in Republican primary races. Calvin University political science professor Doug Koopman says alignment with President Trump was critical for many Republican candidates, and an endorsement from Trump also continues to carry a lot of value.
Donald Trump really controls most of the nominations for most of the seats that Republicans are running for in the state of Michigan. And so it's really who's closest to Donald Trump on the Republican side.
Well, Koopman says he's also expecting Republicans to align themselves with Trump again in November.
The primary had more than just races for public office on the ballot.
Local communities voted on a range of millage proposals around West Michigan. 13
on your sides. Rick Dorsey is in here in studio with us this morning with a look at the unofficial results of some millage proposals. Rick?
Yes, the millage proposals range from funding for public safety to education to even mental health. So let's get into those unofficial results. Over in Ottawa County, voters overwhelmingly approving the mental health millage by a vote of nearly 64% in favor. In Kent County, the Ada Township Park millage passed with a 54.5% of voters in favor. Now, voters also approved a sinking fund millage for the Grand Rapids public school districts by a wide margin. Over in Muskegon County, the community college millage is projected to fail by just a few points. Now, you can find the results of more of those millage proposals along with a wide range of election results over on our website, 13onyourside.com/elections. In studio, I'm Rick Dorsey, 13 on your side.
Turning now to more results from last night's primary election and the 4th Congressional District here in West Michigan.
On the Republican side of the ballot, incumbent U.S. Representative Bill Huizenga projected to defeat former Holland Mayor Philip Tanis.
On the Democratic side, Sean McCann projected to have defeated Diop Harris II. Huizenga will face McCann in the general election in November.
And in the 3rd Congressional District, it is projected that former local TV personality Terry DeBoer defeated challenger Ryan Cushman. DeBoer will face Democrat incumbent Hillary Scholten in November.